James is going to talk about that book and that book. That's his dinner, some broccoli with some sauce and corn. I'm going to talk about White Boy Rick and Whispering City. That's James's harvest from the tunnel today, so that's about 3/4 full. That's my Tiny Tim harvest. And I'm going to talk about this green grape tomato here, which I've let it ripen up as much as it possibly can. I tried it when it was, when it was looked like it should be eaten as a green grape.
Yep.
And
it was pretty bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did not like that.
She grimaced, folks. It wasn't on camera. That was
No.
Very expressive.
And
grimace.
so I decided, okay, well, I'm going to let the other ones ripen, really ripen, as ripe as they possibly can be. So, well, we'll see how that is. I'm going to make James eat it, because I ate the last one.
Okay, so I'm going to be the guinea pig this time.
Yep. So I'm going to give this a little weigh. And I'll let you know what. I'm going to be weighing the tomatoes while James is talking. But
but you're going to first talk about.
I'm going to first talk about
White Boy Rick and stuff like that. I think I'm going to save the corn for a little bit later.
Oh, okay.
Well,
whatever you like.
I just don't want to get the books a little bit.
That's fine.
Greasy or whatever. Corn really isn't greasy, and we're not putting butter on it. This corn is pretty darn good. I used to maybe not but I used to much prefer butter on corn. Okay.
Yeah. So, White Boy Rick. Anyway, I don't care if he's White Boy Rick, Brown Boy Rick, or any other color Boy Rick. You're watching this and you're like, I enjoyed the movie, gave it top of the stack. I enjoyed watching both of these. So today I seeded a lot of tomatoes while watching this, and then James didn't feel like tomatoes today, so
my system does.
He's eating that instead. But that's okay. You know, I already ate a pound of tomatoes myself today. So anyway, I liked the end of the story, how they had the this is based on a true story, so how they had the guy who was White Boy Rick in real life, Rick Wersch Jr. So I like that they had him talking. They didn't just they had some writing at the end to say this is what happened, but they had him actually speaking. I like that.
Like narrating?
Yeah, like telling
the story.
A little bit of what happened. What ended up happening. Yeah. So
are these fellows dressed up all foxily in furs and stuff like that down at the bottom?
Well, they're drug dealers. So his Rick Sr. was he sold guns to drug dealers.
Boy, oh boy.
And probably some other people, I don't know. But anyway.
Wouldn't they just use the guns to steal more guns from you? I'd be scared to deal with dealers.
Mm-hmm. And so then it ends up, I'll give you a little bit of the story. I'm not really giving much away. You get the story right away. So I think it's the FBI. They approach the teenage son, who I think he was 15 at the time when he started with them. Maybe a little older, I don't know. Anyway, this all happened within a couple years, so they approached him and they said, look, your dad is going to end up going to jail unless you help us. So they get him to...
That sounds like a line. I wouldn't trust them unless I got something in writing.
Yeah, and so his dad said when he found out what the boy was doing, because they were getting him to... Eventually, they were getting him to sell drugs. And
The cops were.
Yeah, to get him so that he looked legit in the whole whatever to the people he was.
That could be a setup too.
Yeah.
They could monitor it and then
exactly.
blackmail him.
And so his dad, when he found out about it, he didn't want anything to do with drugs. And but, I mean, he was selling guns. Is he a good guy? Anyway, so when he found out about it, he's like, then you should have just let them put me in jail or whatever. You don't, he didn't want his son doing that at all. Anyway, according to the story. So, he ends up, like it says on the back, he was an informant, later a drug dealer, before he was abandoned and sentenced to life in prison. So it says it right on the back. Anyway, he ended up, like, the FBI didn't protect him because he was already out. He'd gotten shot in the stomach, and they were like, they didn't give him anything for that. They're like, well, it's better if nobody knows about this sort of thing, right? Okay, that's great. He's got shot in the stomach, and has a colostomy bag for a while. That's really fun for him as a teenager. And can't go to school like that because, I mean, he's suspected of being shot because of his drug connections. Why would they want him in school? And they said he was a risk to the other students potentially, so whatever. So that's great for a teenager too. Then he ends up, he'd gotten a woman pregnant and he has a baby and this and that, and so he's like, well, I already know all of these people. I know I have connections and everything. Why not just be a drug dealer? And so he's already out of he's not working for the FBI anymore. He decides to be a drug dealer. He gets caught, and that's the sentence. It's life and we're supposed to feel sorry for him. He was serving a long sentence for dealing drugs. And he was 17 when he was sentenced. And that's pretty close to 18. And I don't know if I'm really sympathetic because drugs kill people. I mean, like they were saying, he was a non-violent offender. It was a very long sentence for a non-violent offender, whatever. Well, dealing drugs, it's pretty violent, really, isn't it? So, I don't know.
How did he get shot? Was he working for the cops?
He was, and one of the other drug people shot him in the stomach. And then
they should have taken care of him.
They should have.
Really for this guy.
Well, and the thing is, I mean, here he was a teenager, and I think it was the FBI was saying to him, he and his father, basically, go ahead and tell them. Tell whoever you want that you were working for the FBI, or they're not going to believe you. They're not going to believe that the FBI had a teenager working for them or whatever. So, anyway, there's some interesting things at the end of this, like they were saying, the corrupt police officers, they served less time than he ended up serving.
They actually were convicted, though.
There were corrupt police officers that were convicted, and they served less time than he did. But them's the breaks. Don't deal drugs. Seriously.
Okay, one thing about cops, it doesn't matter if they're corrupt or not. I'm assuming anyone watching this is not a criminal. If you are a criminal, bad success to you. Never believe what the cops tell you in the interview. You might get caught in a bad situation, like where someone gets murdered and you're a suspect. They will lie to you. They will say they've got the goods on you. You might as well fess up. Then we'll go easy on you. They will lie to you, lie to you, lie to you, and never believe what they say. There are all sorts of examples of this sort of stuff happening. Confess, and we'll get a lighter sentence for you. They don't get lighter sentences. It's lawyers who do that. District attorneys and defense attorneys. They will not put a good word in you for you. And understand, cops are not what they're portrayed.
Try this awful tomato.
Just put it there. I wait till I finish this mouthful so I can
So you can get a good,
render it justice.
yeah, a good idea of what it tastes like.
Cops are not what they're portrayed as being on TV. They're not good guys. They're better guys on average than criminals. They are like guard dogs that we used to keep wolves down or something like that. Keep wolves in line. Passable. I think that was right. Okay.
You like it?
Passable. I think it's right. No,
It's the worst tomato I've ever had.
It's kind of woody.
Yep. Bad
That was your
texture,
experience?
bad taste, bad everything.
Now, was it bitter for you too?
Not bitter. This one's bitter, eh?
No.
Oh.
This one's ready to go. It's not as though you picked one that wasn't ripe.
No, I made them as ripe as they can possibly be.
So, I think they'd make a good sandwich tomato. They're not going to slop up your sandwich. You see what I'm saying?
True, yeah, you're right. They wouldn't. They're very hard.
They got a nice taste. Put a little bit of cheese with them or something like that. I love cheese and tomato sandwiches and stuff. Tomato and lettuce sandwich. You could make a tomato, lettuce, and cheese sandwich. Even better. I think it'd make a great tomato sandwich.
Okay.
Salad. You know, it's not going to make your salad soggy. See what I'm saying?
That's true.
But I think you're going to want it with something else.
Yep. Because it doesn't taste very good. Yeah,
And the
I
taste
guess
she's talking about is the texture.
more than anything, you're right. Because it's hard. You might have heard the crunch.
Well, right now the
Tomatoes
crunching
shouldn't be
is
like that.
the seeds. I mean, yeah, there might have been a bit of a crunch there. I wasn't noticing it. I was just waiting for it to taste really bitter, I assume like an unripe tomato would taste like. I don't know if I've ever done that. My dad used to have 3 good recipes, and everything else was crap.
Oh, really?
But everything else was what he called tomato surprise, which would be things like duck or geese eggs, which just gross
that's the interesting thing about tomatoes is how versatile they are. You can put them in nearly every recipe you make.
Well, you wouldn't think you'd be able to ruin them, but with my dad's tomato surprise, he intentionally ruined it. He chucked everything in. But his good recipes were Irish rabbit, he called it, but that's rarebit, I think.
Yeah.
And is it Welsh? Something like that.
It's funny that he called it rabbit.
Yeah. I think he was just joking.
I know.
He loved puns. And even more than I do. What else? He'd make good pancakes. And he'd make fried green tomatoes. I guess he'd make fried red tomatoes. But he did a very good job with fried green tomatoes.
Okay, well that's
But
good.
I'm telling you, he'd always be threatening us with tomato surprise. And I'd always think, my mom was always saying, she knew somewhere or another that she'd predeceased my dad, and she did by almost 20 years. Yeah, almost exactly the same age. She lived to be less than 82. He lived to be almost 100. But I used to think, once I got to age where I started thinking about time and stuff like that, man, oh man, we could survive if my dad predeceased my mom while we were still kids, but no way would it work the other way, because if for nothing else, because of the food situation. I can't live on pancakes and rarebit and fried green tomatoes.
All right, so the tunnel, 2, 4, 6, 7, a little under, I think, 8 pounds. But that's
Pretty
just
impressive.
the tunnel.
Yeah, well, that was your record from less than a week ago, wasn't it? Daily record?
Oh, maybe you're right. And now it's just the tunnel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I suppose that
Pretty
is
impressive. The
Yeah.
tunnel is really like a tunnel, folks.
So awesome. I should have taken the camera in today to show you, because it's so wonderful. I often say to James that, oh, how I would have loved it as a child. I would have spent all my days in there. Just go in there and lay around, or pretend it was like a fort or a jungle, because it looks a lot like a jungle in there.
Yeah, crawl through the jungle.
Yeah. And
It was.
or just bring a pillow in there and read. It's really
There's
nice.
still some light in there.
Yeah. So.
Not that I can crawl in there, but judging from some of the film you've taken. So I was, this morning I was out front cleaning out the back of the car, but straightening it out more than anything else. When I went to the backyard, I went, where'd Pauline go?
And then you remembered I was in the tunnel.
Oh, it took me a while. And then I could see, it looked as though there was a little, you can see it's not very breezy today, uncharacteristically for Lethbridge. I looked in the garden where it looked as though there was a special little breeze.
Just in an isolated spot, yeah. So
it looked funny.
Yeah.
It looked like a kid was in there, trying to hide and kind of laughing and shaking them.
Yeah, but I'll go in there, and if there's room, I'll turn around and I'll lay on my back and pick. And it's like you can see that a lot of the tomatoes that I picked today, a lot of them are the orange lip smacking grapes.
And boy, are they well named.
Oh, they're so good. And when I'm in that part of the row where it's a lot of orange lip smacking grape tomatoes, they're all over, and they hang like bunches of grapes that are orange, and they're so beautiful.
Wow.
And it smells like honey in there because they're such a sweet tomato. It's just wonderful. And so I just like to lay there, and I'm picking the tomatoes that are ripe, and I think, oh, it'd be nice to just lay here all the time because it smells like honey, and it's so beautiful and cool. If I went in there right now, it'd be nice and cool and just wonderful.
We should start a tomato farm and charge people to pick the tomatoes for us.
Yes, because it's a pleasure going.
Yeah.
I could make like a tomato maze with the, how they do the corn mazes, but I'd have little arbors, and that'd be beautiful. Anyway,
anyway,
everyone did a good job in this. Whatever.
But folks, I don't care if you're drug dealers or not. Cut out this wearing of furs. I assume this is a fashion now.
I don't know. It's very silly.
It looks so gauche, you idiots.
So I don't know when this Whispering City was put out. I should have been watching at the end of the movie to find out. I forgot to look.
Well, sometimes they flash the Latin letters,
Yeah, they
and
probably
those are a
did.
bit hard.
But I don't know when this was put out. It's black and white,
Hmm.
and maybe early 50s. I couldn't say.
Was it
I
like a
don't know.
horror movie, you said?
No, it was like a mystery.
Okay. I see a bat there
Yeah.
in the moon.
So
Silhouetted or the
it's,
yeah.
yeah,
Silhouetting
it's
the moon.
interesting, but yeah, it's about a reporter, and she's a crime reporter, and she ends up involved with a crime story. So it's kind of interesting. I think the ending was maybe not so well planned out or whatever, but it was still entertaining.
Well, reporters do get involved in crime stories. I think generally they don't want to. That's when they get whacked. That's when they start reporting on the mafia and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I was talking about that. Of course, you would have been doing tomatoes. But
No, I heard.
yep. Okay.
And anyway, I've heard you talk about that a lot. So
I know.
it's anyway. So
How much time did you think? 8?
oh, so many minutes. Lots and lots of minutes, I'm sure. Yep, 7.5.
Yeah. It wasn't awful. I got a fairly good sense of time if I'm actually enjoying myself. But it gets really skewed if I'm bored, because then it seems long. Right?
I'm glad you enjoyed the meal in my company.
Well, the meal was great. I should mention that. What sort of sauce did you say that was?
Oh, what is that called? Tikka masala again?
Tikka masala. Awesome with the broccoli. And what, of course, really brought it alive?
Pomegranate.
Pomegranate
Yeah.
seeds or whatever.
They're good
you
on
call it.
everything.
They're amazing. They're really versatile, folks.
Yeah. Pomegranates and tomatoes.
You could put them on
Put 'em on
burgers, and
anything.
they'd actually make burgers almost
Yeah.
the quality experience.
Well, I have done so.
Well, I'm talking about hamburgers, but I like vegetarian hamburgers. Okay. So I've threatened to review this before Memoirs of the Second World War. This is a kind of like an abridgment. I think they call it an abridgment of his 6 or 5 volume series on the Second World War. This is actually maybe a little bit better. There's maybe a little bit too much of a focus on what he did in the Second World War. So there are, actual letters and things like that he wrote, or that were written and sent to him, and so on and so forth. And some of that stuff gets a little bit more. It's a good idea, of course, to have documentation for the things that you want to maintain. And after having gone through this, and this book and a variety of books about World War II and World War I as well, I'm starting to develop a little bit more of a respect for Winston Churchill as a grand strategist.
Really?
Yeah. I used to think that his plan for invading Turkey
Yeah, you've mentioned
in World War I was stupid. But you know what they say about attacking, like a full frontal attack is suicidal. If your foes are set for you and all that sort of stuff. Now the big trouble with World War I is both foes were set for each other, Germany and England and their allies, the French, basically in Belgium and mainly in France. Trench warfare and stuff like that. It was just suicide, double suicide. Yeah, an idiot was double parked.
Well, that's the guy, hey?
Well, he's a delivery guy.
Oh, yeah, they always do that.
I don't mind folks seeing who it was, but it wouldn't be a revelation. People have seen the big ones. One starts with an F, one starts with a U. One starts with a P.
Yeah.
One starts with, I wonder which one that could be.
Yeah, I know. It's funny how they
They're-
never, like, they must tell their workers, oh, if you don't break the laws, then you're not going to get hired again or whatever. Not gonna
Double
get the job.
parking,
they
parking on the
just
wrong side of
do
the
it
street.
all the
Even
time.
when there's a place to park, they'll park in a crooked sort of fashion. When you park a large unit, particularly a trailer, not that we're lugging around trailers. When I was driving a trailer, they were telling me, always tuck the trailer in this way to the curb, not out like this, because it's such a long unit, it'll stick out into traffic.
Mhm.
But you get those perolator, big vans or whatever they are, and they don't park them parallel with the curb. They stick out into traffic. They don't seem to care, you know. They'll jump out of the van right in front of you when you're coming along. You know, like, I try not to do that with the vehicle. And it's not as though I've got as wide a unit, even with the van that we've got, as a perolator van or a UPS van. I think DHL went out of business, but a while back. Anyway, just horrible driving, and like Pauline says, it's almost as though they're required to do that. They should be paid, not so much. I suspect they could get paid for the number of packages they deliver, but it should be a combination of delivering packages and safely. And you're saying, well, no, it's not safe to double park. It's not safe to, especially when you're. And now, unfortunately, I'm afraid some of you folks out there would know roughly how dangerous it is to come out of parking when you parked on the wrong side of the road. You're using the mirror that doesn't give you nearly, that's the passenger side mirror, it doesn't give you nearly as much of a perspective of what the traffic that you're coming into than the mirror that's on the driver's side. Now, I know what it's like to do that, because there were times when I was driving truck where we were required to park on the wrong side. For example, if we were doing work on a fairly busy road, my foreman would say, you make sure that you go upstream of where we're working, facing into traffic. Because what he'd say is, if someone wants to get at us, they're going to have to go through a 3-ton truck, right? Starting with the grill all the way through the box. So there were times when we had to do it. And when you're coming out into traffic from there, it is not a safe thing to do. Anyway, talking about Winston Churchill, it don't do full frontal attacks. And so what he was trying to do, said that's a tactic, but I suspect it's also a strategic sort of thing. You try to attack your enemy at his or her weakest point. You go around them. Usually it's flanking, and preferably well-timed pincher movements, double flanking movements, that win when you're talking about tactics. That's battlefield
You
tactics.
guys to bring this out for easy access for the deer. I've seen them nibbling away at it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, we just sit and watch them, because I don't know if you've seen the one family where the mother has been thumped by one of these irresponsible drivers that we've got
Yeah, I
on
don't know
17th
how,
Street.
but I've seen the injured leg, yeah.
Yeah, we saw her,
Sure,
I
that
think
one.
the
So
same
we
day
don't-
she got
we don't
injured,
mind so
because the
much.
lower part of the leg was hanging down, right?
Yeah.
But it's